What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is the fantasy drama film The Shape of Water. Co-written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water takes place in the 1960s and primarily follows Sally Hawkins' character Eliza Esposito. Eliza works as a janitor at a research center in Baltimore and begins interacting with a strange creature that's being studied by medical professionals at the research center. As time passes, Eliza finds herself at odds with the scientists and government officials as she begins getting attached to the creature. And the rest of the film is spent watching their friendship evolve as the government attempts to simply understand what this animal is. Alright, so I can't exactly say I was looking forward to The Shape of Water. I mean, I definitely wanted to see it because it's Guillermo del Toro, but it wasn't something that I was like dying to see. You know, like when the trailers came out, I was interested in it. I wasn't blown away by what I saw in those trailers. I didn't feel like I had to rush out and see it. But like I said, since Guillermo del Toro's name was attached to it, I felt like I kind of had to see it. And I saw the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Like I said, I don't ever read reviews beforehand, but I do look at scores a lot of times because, you know, I don't get any early access to these movies. I see them most of the time the same times you guys do. But really, I was really disappointed with this one. I was very disappointed with The Shape of Water because I felt like it had no emotion to it. I felt no connection to the characters. I wasn't really entertained. It was just kind of a very boring movie. And that's probably going to be upsetting to a lot of different people out there who probably love this film, but it was very boring. I found myself checking my watch or my phone a lot just because I just felt like there was nothing really happening. I felt like I wasn't engaged in the story. Like things were progressing, but it eventually just kind of felt like a collection of scenes kind of, you know, mashed all together into this forced kind of awkward romance story. And that's, you know, it is unique. It's a very unique movie. And I think that will resonate with some people. This love story, it's a very unique, very different type of love story, very different type of romance story than what you've probably ever seen before, or at least very different from what you've seen before. And that's cool that Guillermo del Toro took that direction, but you still kind of got to have, you know, good characters and a story that's actually entertaining and, you know, makes sense. To me, this story doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that happen that feel very forced. Like I said, it feels like the romance is the biggest part of the story, and they make sure that happens no matter which direction the characters are going and no matter which direction things are headed. And when it comes to the entertainment factor, that's a really, really big issue for a movie like this. I mean, any movie really. I mean, there's a lot of things that movies can try to do. They can try to help you learn something, help you feel something. But entertainment is the primary focus for a lot of films, and this film is not an exclusion from that. And it's not a very entertaining movie. Like I said, I was very, very bored. This is by a lot of people considered one of the best movies of 2017, and for me, it's one of the worst because it was so boring. There was, like I said, there was no engagement, no attachment for me. It felt like a very hollow experience, very hollow, and like I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about anything that was happening. That was going on in this story. And that's a big problem because if you're feeling that way and you're feeling that cold towards the story and towards the characters, that speaks volumes for how much you're enjoying the movie. Because if you're not engaged in that way, you know, you're not doing much. And it's not like I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan or anything. I mean, I think the only movie of his that I've seen is actually Pan's Labyrinth. I don't think I've seen any other of his films. I mean, I'd have to go down his IMDb page and check. But I was more interested in his work because he has that kind of credibility as a director. A lot of people consider him to be one of the best. A lot of people love his work and love his films. And I think expectations were very high for this movie, and that could be why people are judging it so favorably. I don't know. Maybe they actually enjoyed it. This wasn't a movie that when I went out to see it today, that I was going out there and really hyped, really excited to see. It's not like I was going to see Star Wars or Avengers or even a trailer that really wowed me like Moonlight or La La Land last year or Arrival. Those movies were movies I was really excited to see going into. The Shape of Water, not so much. I mean, like I was going into it expecting it to be good. I wasn't expecting it to be as bad as I thought it was. But I didn't expect it to be great either because I feel like the trailer, the story just didn't connect with me. I didn't feel any sort of emotion from the trailer. I felt cold like I did throughout the entire movie. And besides a few scenes, I think a lot of the reason, or the biggest reason that I felt so cold was because there's no build up to it. There's no build up to any scenes. Things just happen. Things just happen. Like I said, a collection of scenes that lead to events that are in the script and they have to be there. That's how this feels to me. It feels very contrived. And that's a big problem for a movie that's, you know, supposed to entertain me and supposed to make my heart warm, basically. I'm supposed to have a heartwarming, to an extent, experience from this because it is a romance story. It's a romance story. It was sold as a romance story. It is. It's a very odd one, but it is that. And that may be part of the problem too. I mean, it's a romance story, like I said, and the romance is between a sea fish monster and a woman, and it just feels weird. It just feels weird, and like I can't really connect to the story. No matter how much outcast they are, how abused they've been, how neglected they've been in society, or wherever they've been, that didn't really change the fact that I couldn't get invested in their relationship. I couldn't get invested in their evolving relationship. And that was something that, is gonna, if you can't either, if you feel like this movie is gonna be too weird for you, and you're not gonna be able to get invested in this unusual romance, to say the least, then you're not gonna enjoy this movie. I'm guessing a big reason people really enjoy this film, or some of the critics really enjoy this film, is because of the characters. The characters are outcast, almost all of them, and they all interact and identify with each other in unique and outcast-like ways. They've all kind of been shunned by society in some way. They all kind of feel unaccepted or unappreciated in some way. And that's something that does resonate throughout this story, and that kind of identifies and goes with the creature that Sally Hawkins' character, has a romantic connection with, because they're similar in that way. But it's just weird. I think if you're really into artsy, really unique films, which I am to an extent, then you probably will enjoy this. I think this is very specific to a very specific crowd, very film buff, very hardcore movie lovers, artsy film lovers, those kind of crowds. That's who this movie is going to appeal to. And otherwise, if you're not in that crowd, I think you won't like it. But there are a few things I liked about this film. I mean, The Shape of Water does have some redeeming qualities. I mean, I think Sally Hawkins is really great in her role as Eliza. I think she's probably the best thing going for this film. I liked her character the most, but I was more impressed by the performance. I mean, this is a very difficult role to pull off. Considering Eliza is a mute, she has to speak through sign language. She has to relay a lot of emotion through her facial expressions and body language, and just general tone without actually speaking anything. And that's a very tough role to take on, very difficult role to take on. Not a lot of actresses could do that role. And I thought she pulled it off really, really well. Michael Shannon is also really great. He's great in a different kind of way. He's intense, very creepy. It's a very Michael Shannon-esque kind of role. He plays a government official, and he's very serious about this asset, this creature. I thought he was really great too. Him and Sally Hawkins were great. Octavia Spencer was also really good. She was good as well. So the acting is good. It's just weird to me that I liked all the performances, but I hated all the characters. Even the good guys and the bad guys. I didn't like either of them. Didn't connect with either of them. That's kind of weird. That's a rarity for me. And I think I can, most people can separate the difference between a good performance and a good character, or a bad performance and a bad character. Here, good performances, bad characters. That's kind of how I view it. The movie also looks cool. I mean, the CGI looks cool. There's a lot of really slow-mo shots, a lot of pans and zooms, a lot of great cinematography work, a lot of interesting lighting efforts, lighting work in this film. It's a very pleasant, very easy film to look at. It has that 1960s vibe and feel and tone to it visually. Visually, this film looks great. A lot of underwater shots that look really, really cool, very artistic looking. It's a very easy film to look at, just not a very easy film to engage with emotionally. All right, there's one more bad thing I have to say about The Shape of Water. So the ending. The ending is very out there like the rest of the film, but it makes no sense. I was very confused and very frustrated, but not surprised, because the rest of the movie kind of does the same thing. And it very much left me underwhelmed, very cold. I walked out of that theater very disappointed. That was, the whole movie kind of felt that way to me, but the ending was just, the icing on the cake. As for the pros, cons, I thought The Shape of Water had very nice acting performances from Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer, and Michael Shannon. They were all really good, and it looks cool. The visual experience is very nice. CGI looks cool. The cinematography, the lighting, all looks very good. As for the cons, the story was very uninteresting. It lacked emotional resonance and didn't have much of an entertainment factor. The pacing was a little bit of a mess. There were a lot of collections of scenes, no build-up, not much tension to experience in this film. The ending was very anticlimactic, and the characters as a whole were also very, very underwhelming. I'm going to give The Shape of Water a 4.5 out of 10. I know that's very disappointing to hear for a lot of you, and I'm going to recommend that you pass on this one in theaters. You might want to see it if you love Guillermo del Toro and you're just looking for a very out-there romance story, but otherwise, for most audience members, the vast majority of you, I feel like you could really pass on this one. So did you guys see The Shape of Water yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. And also let me know your favorite Guillermo del Toro film. I guess mine would be Pan's Labyrinth. I don't really have much of a choice. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next video.